Welcome to Colonize the Ocean podcast, where we discuss oceanic colonization, exploration, and education with your hosts Adam Jewell and Brendan Traxler.
Welcome back to the ASC live stream. It's been a minute.
It has definitely been a minute.
It feels like it's been a long time.
It has been a long time. The reason I know this is because I was uploading one of the weekly shorts that I do on our podcast. And I was like, usually it's like one or two shorts and then like a live stream. And it's like 3 or 4. It's like, holy cow, it's been a hot minute since we've done one of these.
Hot minute. What's new with you, my good friend?
I mean, how much time you got?
I mean, it's our live stream. We can take as much time up as we want.
We'll be here until 1 a.m. talking about what's new in my life.
I mean, whatever. Yeah, let's go for it.
No, I mean, we'll get into some of that stuff since most of it's ASC related for the most part. But no, otherwise it's just, it's November, December, having, with helping my dad with his bookstore. It's crazy times. It's nonstop all the time. When I'm not there, I got other things going on. I'm exhausted. I'm ready for 2024 so I can take a nap.
I got a little peek of that while I was.
You did, yes, you did. I was there. I forgot you were down here.
Yeah, I was. Me and you hung out for a while, buddy.
When was this?
A couple weeks ago, man. And honestly, other than just texting back and forth, we haven't talked that much really since then. Just shooting messages back and forth and doing our Marco Polo thing. But I mean, for those of you who care, I mean, Brendan and I usually play games and stuff together a lot, and we just haven't lately. So it's like, I haven't had a lot of communication since then. But no, we're things are solid right now.
How is it going with you?
You can tell it's starting to get to be that time of year where, we just had Thanksgiving. Obviously, you had some with your family, and I was with like my in-laws and my family, and then like all my family got COVID except me and my immediate family, but my extended family all got COVID, but we're still good. But Brendan,
yes, sir.
The biggest event since we've last been together. CM Punk's back.
We're talking about DEMA already.
I wanted to throw that in, even though it's
that's a different podcast we need to do. But talking about DEMA real quick, both the videos are up. The video that you and me shot together, talking about our recap of DEMA, it's up and it's live. And then just yesterday, where's it this morning?
I think you did it this morning. Was that all shots you took?
Yeah.
Oh, it was well done, sir. I didn't.
I was very happy with the turnout.
Well, then it's just like, so tying into it, and this is why I'm saying this. So, like, I didn't realize you got that much B-roll footage because I know when we got there, you took a couple videos or whatever. But to add to the story of DEMA, there was I would say like a third to like half the time you and I were off doing different things.
Yeah,
like a lot of it we walked together and hung out and all that stuff, but there'd be certain stuff like I'd stop and look at, you'd keep walking or vice versa. We kind of just did our own thing for a while. They're talking to different people. And so, you probably got a lot of that footage when I wasn't even around.
Yeah. Yeah. It turned out really good. I'm going to, tomorrow is underwater intervention.
Yes.
So I'm going to be there tomorrow. So I'll be doing the same thing there. It's been really cool talking about underwater intervention, just online and stuff like that. Casey Sapp, who I saw in underwater intervention several years ago, he said to hit him up when I'm down there. And basically what his whole forte is VR, underwater VR. He's known as one of the guys he's pioneering that and really doing a lot with that. So I'll talk to him. Also, the late great Tom Doc Rowe, who designed the Vash or the Bionic Dolphin, which is like that boat submarine thing you can drive. It looks like a big the company that kind of, I don't know all the details. I don't know if they stole the idea or they took it, bought it from him or what. They got one of their things there. I saw it. It's like, oh man, I can't wait to see that sucker live. So it's going to be there. I saw a bunch of other companies and businesses that are going to be there. It's going to be really good. So I'm thinking this is going to be a really good B2B one tomorrow to be at. So it looks like it's a little bit shorter as time frame goes, but still.
It's only a 1-day thing, right?
No, it's been going for the last couple of days.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's been going several days too. But yeah, I'll get down there at 9:00 in the morning, just like we did, and then be there until probably 2 is when I think they close or something like that. So I'll be there several hours, rubbing shoulders and passing out business cards and collecting business cards and just trying to make some connections.
I'd be curious to see if there's some of the same vendors from DEMA.
There are. But, yeah.
Because I got to think some of those businesses are probably fairly close to New Orleans anyways.
Mm-hmm.
So it's probably an easy gig for them to do.
Right. And there was actually an event going on tonight I really wanted to go to down in New Orleans. There's a podcast called the Blue Primer, and basically all they focus on is the blue economy and businesses that are focused on, seasteading or building using the ocean and stuff along those lines. And they're based out of New Orleans, and they're having a big meet and greet and like a hangout type of thing tonight in a meeting. And so I would really like to make it to that, but it was last minute notice, and I had other stuff I had to do tonight. And so yeah, it didn't play out. But if we're going to do that every year, I will definitely try to make it to the next one. If they're doing right before underwater intervention type of thing, we're doing that whole time.
Because underwater intervention, that stays in New Orleans, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, every year. Because it has in the past.
DEMA rotates between New Orleans, Orlando and Vegas?
Yep, and they were putting something email today for the Las Vegas one already.
That's the next one, upcoming one.
Mm-hmm. So that's what's going on tomorrow. So we'll see. Exciting times.
It would be cool, in retrospect. It's costly. Because we did kind of look into it a little bit, but to set up a booth at DEMA, it would be cool to do that just for the fact that the traffic comes to you rather than it was us going and checking out other people. And
I thought about that a lot today. I said I don't think I would put the money into DEMA and doing a booth like that until we actually had something.
Right. Yeah, and that's the thing is because. Yeah, that's more about what I kind of got out of it is people that already have equipment or they're debuting stuff or whatever, and they're trying to get you to come visit their live aboard, their resort, or get their wetsuits, get their scuba tanks and all that. So yeah, it'd be tough to set up a fundraising booth, I guess you could say, or whatever, but I just like the concept of them coming to you and then you just be able to give them the spiel because you're right there with your stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, we'll see how underwater. The big thing about underwater intervention this time is they partner with Workboat, and so it says the exact same place we were at before. So you know how big that place was, and it's going to take up about the same amount of space. But it looks like about 80% of that is going to be the Workboat, which is basically dealing with the marine industry and insurance and boating and stuff along those lines, which still I'm definitely interested because I think there's going to be some really good stuff there I'm going to be able to get from that. But only 20% of it is underwater intervention stuff too. So we'll see. But yeah, that is tomorrow. So you'll be seeing all the information coming out next week as I get everything processed and out there.
Yeah. Sweet deal. I'm excited. Yeah, I'm excited to hear what you have to say about it tomorrow evening.
I'll probably shoot you some Marco Polos and stuff while I'm down there.
Yeah, that's Adam exclusive. Not even Patreon members
that's right.
get that.
That's right.
That's what you get for being.
You gotta get my Marco Polo.
yeah. We should create a tier for that to where you can get Brendan a nice Marco Polo.
Yeah.
And you would be disappointed because
pretty much
we waste a lot of time saying stupid stuff back and forth. But yeah, it is a great tool.
So some other stuff that's been going on. Actually, just tonight, you don't even know this, but Dennis Chamberlain, who we've had on here before, he's got a Facebook group. It's called Underwater. What's it called? Let me find it real fast.
Submersibles?
Now.
Or is that a different group? Because you and I are in a couple of the same groups together.
Yeah, it's Undersea Colonies.
Oh, there you go.
Okay. Yep. So anyway, this guy in there was posted a thing tonight saying, "Hey, who's actually doing this? Who's actually doing something underwater?" Something like that.
I saw that post. Yep.
So yeah. So anyway, so he shot me a message because I said, "Hey, we are." So him and me talked a little bit tonight, and he's going to school and all this kind of stuff, and that's his focus. Is he's got some ideas and designs and stuff along those lines. So he wanted to talk tomorrow. I said, "Hey, I can tomorrow, but let's get together." So we'll see. It could be another, once again, younger person that may have some great ideas and just looking. And if we can bring that in and use that, great. Yep. If not, sharing information and ideas is all great. I try to be very open with everybody else working with underwater spec, maybe to the detriment. And we'll talk about a little bit more about that here in a second. But funny thing, one of the other people in the underwater has blocked me on everything, and I can't see what they're doing anymore.
I really want to talk about this, by the way. I do.
So let's talk about it, because since he's blocked me, there is no...
It's frustrating because, and I'll keep this statement broad because I don't want to pinpoint, but like, one thing that you and I have talked about a lot is that this field that we're in, you run into people that have a lot of heart, a lot of knowledge, a lot of passion to do this, and that people are actually trying to put work into getting it done, for good reasons and stuff too. Whether it be people out there that want to have recreational things, people that want to have research things, educate, whatever it is. People that have good purpose, that want to do these cool things, whatever it is. But then there's this whole sector of other people that are also like, that turn it into a political thing. They turn it into a, like, this grandioso sci-fi, like, things that like are, I don't want to say impossible because nothing's impossible, but have these, wild plans and like that don't really, it looks like they're not pursuing anything other than to try to push, I guess, a thought or a design almost, if that makes sense. So like you get a wide range of people that are in this, and that's, I mean, like Brennan said, it's great to constantly talk with people, whether they might be a little, eccentric or not, just because people have the passion for it. But there's some that just, you wonder what, like, if it's more of like, I just wanted to start a website and talk about something that I think would be cool, but something I'm not going to pursue type deal. So that's my thoughts on a lot of the thing.
Yeah. And here's something else is, to kind of go along with what you're just saying, well, not really, but one of the things that frustrates, doesn't really frustrate me because it doesn't affect me any, but it's like I've reached out to multiple people that have, been working on or proposed underwater habitats to get them on just to talk about it. It's like, man, just get your vision out there. We'll give you a platform. Get on here. We'll interview you. We'll talk about, I give you the script beforehand so you can make adjustments to it however you want. This is for you. And they're like, nah, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to do that. It's like, then don't complain that you're not getting things done. It's kind of right. Well, I want the whole thing, but once again, they have a different vision for it. I'm not going to, if they do it their own way, that's cool. And that's what they got to do. But I'm not charging them anything. It's free marketing, free publicity for them to get on here. And we don't have the hugest audience. It's still some place to go.
Yeah. And to what you're saying as well is you've had a lot of conversations, done, interviews or talked to a lot of people that reached out to talk to you. And for the sake of ASC, you've reached out and you've put in a lot of work to have great conversations with people that are showing interest, that want to help or say they want to help or whatever it is. And you've gotten looped into some people that are like, a little, what's the proper word? Just disorganized, maybe. I don't know. But you roll the dice with it every time because it's just like, well, whatever. It could be the key that we're missing, or it's it'll be one of these things that might end up just being a waste of time, but at least we're going to take a shot with it.
Yeah.
So like you said, like to offer people an opportunity to come talk about whatever, whether it's a little far-fetched or not. I mean, I respect anybody that has the passion to do any kind of project that, they are driven to do, whether it seems crazy to me or not. It doesn't matter. If someone's passionate about it and they want to keep, and they're trying to figure it out, good for them. That's what it comes down to. It's the ones that, like you said, have an idea but aren't trying to push it or do anything with it other than, maybe just mention it in passing.
Right. And that's really been part of my focus here recently. To anybody out there watching, and as you're watching this, and you're like, man, I want to, I'm interested in underwater hotels, underwater habitats, or any of that, or just living underwater. You watch Jacques Cousteau growing up, stuff along those things, similar to what I have,
Sure.
and you just want more information. I've got decades now of information plus these contacts and stuff I've made that I'm more than willing to talk to people about and share the information with. So it's one of those things, like we've said over and over again, it's all about connecting to that right person, and that right person will lead to investors or whatever to get the ball rolling and get this thing built. So that's kind of where we're at. I think you're going to see more changes of that in 2024. That's some discussions that you and me need to be having, but I got some ideas on that. Plus, we're not going to talk too much about this, but there's 2 other potential avenues coming up here recently. One of them with Martin Henke, our friend, my friend, you haven't talked to him, over in Turkey. They're having some really good success over there with moving their project along. And him and me have talked now for a couple of years now, and just trying to mesh our ideas on our vision together to make something happen. And we've I think pretty much done that. We've always been on the same page. There's been absolutely no, we're at each other or we're competing against each other or something along those lines. That's the way I want it. I think that it can be. And even at DEMA, we even had that conversation when we were talking to people in Curacao about Fabian Cousteau and Proteus and something along those lines. We had those conversations even come up with some of the people. And it's one of those things where there's tons of water out there for all of us to be doing our own thing. But it may be one of those things where we may need to team up, several of us, to get one of these built and just grow it from there type of thing. I don't know. It's just one of those things that I don't know. And that's kind of where we're at. And then there's another potential for something different. That's just early conversations I shared with Babe and Adam. And we'll see what happens with that. That's a little bit a different angle and a different path to go down, and not sure if that's something we want to do at this point in time or not. But once again, it's more networking and basically building a platform. That's all I'll say at this point in time, just because it's just too vague. We don't know that much about what it is or what it entails yet. So I don't want to say anything and just get people excited or get hate mail or whatever may come from it. So I'll just put some teasers out there with that and throw it at that we'll see.
I like it.
Yeah.
And I had a point I was going to make, and I completely lost the point. That tying to what you were saying about the networking and all that. And that's the thing too, is that if ASC succeeds, or once ASC succeeds, we would love to probably be able to, if we know of other people that have good ideas, good designs, like being able to like reach out to them and, share some success in a ways, like, if they're genuine people and, finding a way to help them or whatever. Like, I guess the way I've always interpreted the way you do stuff, Brendan, is not, like you said, not a me versus everybody else, but more of a, like, I'd love to see this project come to life type deal. So, say in however long, ASC, we have habitats underwater, and someone else is like, hey man, I have a great concept for something like this. Like, I'd really love to work with you guys. Cool. Like, maybe we can help out, or maybe they can be a part of what we do. But like you said, there's those people too that put up walls and don't want any, like, don't want to work with it. And that's fine. That's the way a lot of business works, is like, McDonald's and Burger King don't work with each other to make a great burger, but I mean,
and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I should be more walled up, and maybe and stuff. I guess time will tell. And something along those lines, it's just who I am and how I act. Maybe and this was back when I was in IT. My home personality was different from my work personality.
Sure.
I was a very different person at work than I was at home, and maybe I need to get back into that and have two different personalities again to really separate the two. But
I'd advise against it, because I also know you were very unhappy there for a while too.
I say my life is a little bit happier now because of that. But at the same time, I got stuff done. So yeah. But anyway.
Yeah, that's I mean, I truly believe things go better by trying to build bridges rather than build walls. But
yeah,
business is a weird, crazy thing, and it depends on what your motive is. If your motive is just money, you're probably going to build more walls. But if your motive is to, pursue a passion project, you're probably going to be willing to, like I said, build more bridges than.
And to your point, I mean, we're here to make money. I mean, we're not going to beat around the bush, but it's not a money grab type of situation either.
It's not the main goal or the initial goal,
right?
Like, to see it come to life is the main goal.
Right.
After that, it's like, okay, let's
we need to be a profitable company.
Yeah, let's make it to where like we can keep doing it.
Right.
In order to keep doing a business, you have to make money off of it.
Yeah. So that's where it's at. So I just want to clarify, because I know people will say stuff about that, or if investors, any investors that are watching right now, they're going to hear that, they're going to be, well, I don't want to invest in a company that's not going to doesn't plan on making money. But no, definitely, we do have a plan for a ROI and making this, and that's always been the thing is how do you make it financially profitable? And we're getting off a completely other subject here, but that it has been discussed.
We can do that.
That's true. We have discussed this in the past, and maybe we'll need to do an episode just on profitability of underwater habitats.
Yeah, that's been a big thing too with a lot of people. Granted, it's the people that weren't going to give us money anyways that usually have that concern.
Well, that's not the point, though.
Right. But that is like a lot of what we've gotten as people that's like, oh, well, you can't make money off of that. It's like, you're not the one writing a check, so like, don't tell us that, because we do know how we can do it.
Yeah, but even people like Michael Lombardi, who has got the underwater tent like system that out there and stuff like that. Him and me had a long conversation, pretty much just about that, about the profitability of underwater habitats, and is there profitability, and how do you do that and stuff like that too. So even somebody that's out there and that's in this field and stuff like that, he's got concerns about it too. So
no. Hey, that's the whole drive though, is like sometimes you gotta prove people wrong to succeed at something too. So it's just like, quick side story, but I was explaining over Thanksgiving, I was explaining that to my nephew too. I was showing him the ASC things, showing him the videos, and he's just like, man, that's crazy. He's like, how would you make money off of something that's going to cost so much money? I'm like, yeah, it probably will right off the bat. But, there's just like anything that's ever been built, your first few, you're losing money on. And then like you figure, after you figure out how you built them and make a good product, then it's like, all right, let's sell these bad boys, just like I can't think of any product off the top of my head that was probably free to make. It's like everything costed some money to. Probably had to go into the red a little bit, and then you got good.
You got to buy all that equipment and stuff like that, or outsource it or whatever like that. It all costs money. And unless you have got a client list built up beforehand that's already handing you money to build something that has never been built before, which is possible and it is doable, you're probably going to be hurting there for a little bit.
Yeah, and like we've said a million times, ever since I've been I've joined with you and tried to help you out where I can. Building the thing is not going to be the hard part. The hard part's getting the money to build the thing.
Right.
Like, if we had like a checkbook, that had it, that the hard part's over almost. You know what I mean? Like, after it's built, then like it's like you can talk to anyone and be like, look at this thing that I got right here. Like, do you want this like at your dive shop? Do you want this at your resort? Do you whatever? And and then you can talk to more investors, be like, we already built one. We know how to do it. We can keep doing it. But it's the first one.
Yep. And like at DEMA, we spoke with Coral Restoration Group.
Yeah.
And talked to
very nice gal that we talked to.
Yeah, she was really cool. And we talked to her. We need to get contact her and get her on the podcast anyway.
Did we get her card, or did she give us a card of someone else?
Someone else.
We'll see if we'll try to see if we can track her down. She was cool. I like.
Yeah. Anyway. And we talked to them about what we're trying to do. And I say one of the things, especially for coral restoration, is going to be a big key portion of what ASC does, because, again, we want to make the surrounding area, lush and vibrant and beautiful. Yeah. And that includes coral reefs. So we're going to be a portion of that. And the nice thing about having a static underwater habitat is we can mount that thing with cameras all over the place and monitor 24/7 what's going on with other sensors and stuff along those lines. And it's going to, it's a dry environment where we can make sure that we're getting good information that could help the whole situation. If nothing else, we'll be adding coral reefs back into locations that may either have lost them or never had to begin with.
Yeah. That's been I guess one of the nice things is it's borrowed science. It's not like we discovered this whole thing, but the fact that you can create artificial reefs and help expand existing reefs, by putting something else into the environment. So because, whole other subject again, that's always been one of the concerns too, is like, oh, well, you're going to tear stuff up. I mean, that was one of the comments I got at DEMA when I explained to someone, and they're just like, no government is going to let you just, cut out a bunch of coral reef. I'm like, oh, no, we don't want to. Like, that's not the goal, is to be like, well, let's relocate this coral reef.
Yeah.
So, we're those bad real estate guys in all those like kids movies that are like, we're going to tear down the forest. And
like in the Goonies.
We're going to put a bunch of apartment buildings. No, that's not like, we want that stuff there. Think of it like those guys that build a cabin in the woods. It's like, you want the forest around you. You want all that stuff because that's the whole reason you're moving there.
Yeah. And we're not going to be dropping these right on top of existing coral reefs anyway.
Yeah, it's just like, be really cool right on top of Nemo. Yeah. That's what we should do.
Yeah. Sorry, struggling enough.
My kids alone wouldn't let us do that. They would be pretty upset about that. If I told them that, like, yeah, we just destroyed a bunch of coral reef. Real proud of it.
So I guess that in a nutshell is what's been going on here recently, which to me feels like it's been a lot, just because it's been nonstop and it's been so much going on, been running and stuff along those lines too. But one thing I will say is if you don't subscribe to our podcast, I definitely encourage you. It's Colonize the Ocean is what the name of the podcast is. It's on our socials. It should be on most podcast things. Apple, I'm not sure. It was on Apple, but I've been having some issues with Apple, so I'm going to try to get that worked out. So I'm not sure if it's still there or not. But otherwise, it's on Spotify, Google,
Because you upload it through Anchor, don't you?
Which is now just Spotify.
Oh, did Spotify buy Anchor then?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I guess it's been a long time since I had my own podcast, but that's how it is through Anchor.
It is Spotify now. So
okay. Well, because I use the app called Castbox, and it's on there. I'm subscribed to it on there. And there was at one point, so if it's the same business, it's just changed it. I remember I went through like a bunch of the different apps, and mine was on all that stuff. Yep. Other than I didn't check Apple just because I never downloaded Apple. But
and Apple's a pain to get set up.
I've heard that from a lot of different people, is that because something to do with like how their feeds work and stuff.
So if anybody is good with this, because I know how to run Apples. I've worked on Macs and stuff like that in the past, but I don't have an Apple device. So just getting an Apple ID set up has been a pain. It's like, you should be able to do the Gmail. Great. It won't let me do it. So I don't know. So if anybody out there is watching this and can help me out with the whole Apple ID thing, I would be greatly appreciated, because I don't know why it keeps on giving me an error and saying you can't do it right now when it's all right. Whatever.
Yeah,
that's my plea to the people out there. But anyway, back to the podcast. I do a like short, like 3 to 5 minute, just a little short every Monday, talking about random different topics. I try to pose a little question at the end of each of them to stuff like that. So yeah, that's just something. And then of course, most of these end up going into a podcast format as well, plus anything else we may do. Yeah, just follow us on our social medias. I mean, that's the bottom line.
Look at that.
Anyway, Colonize the Ocean podcast.
Available where podcasts are.
Where podcasts are sold.
That's my one like thing that I always find weird is like when you listen to any podcast, there's like listen to us on Spotify and Apple. It's like I bet half your listeners aren't listening on those two platforms. I bet they found another app like I did just because. Maybe I'm wrong, but I like to listen to it or use a different app for it. But
I use Google for everything.
I've used that as well. They do. They have a good one too. Anyways, Colonize the Ocean podcast.
Yeah. Anyway, you got anything else you want to go over tonight, Adam?
You know what? No, I don't. I'm just glad I was excited to jump back on and do this. Like I said, honestly, other than the live stream, I was thinking about this. Is like since I've been back from Mississippi from hanging out with you. I haven't even been on my computer really. Like I don't think I've sat down on my computer once, and that's been like what, a week and a half now, or almost 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So it's just like that's why I'm like, man, I hope there's no updates or anything I gotta do before I get on my computer because I've just kind of left it vacant for a while. But yeah, so I was just excited to be able to jump on and chat with you, and we can talk a little bit about DEMA like we did, and you got underwater intervention coming up tomorrow. So, yeah,
I got ideas for a Christmas live stream I'll talk to you about. But
I was about to say, like, because we got tomorrow's the 1st.
Yep.
Well, if you're listening on Patreon, today's the 30th of November, but when it comes out on social media,
it'll be next. Yeah, the video will come out next Tuesday, which will be the 5th.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe, should we should do one right before Christmas?
Yeah.
Do we want to do? Or like after?
No, let's do one before.
Let's do one between and then maybe one after.
We can do a New Year's Eve. New Year's Eve, we'll bring in the New Year on here.
Yeah, that's what everybody wants to do. Is like, hey, stay up till midnight with us on Patreon.
But yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll shoot something out there. Maybe like, man, it's all busy time. So freaking busy. Maybe on my birthday. That's Saturday.
Just throw that out there casually in case anybody has.
On my birthday to December 16th.
In case anybody wants to Venmo me anything.
Yeah. But no. We'll figure it out. We'll put it out there. But yeah, I want to do because I want to talk to you about some ideas to make it fun, make it festive.
I can do that. All right. Let me run down. Let me do the rundown.
Yeah.
I haven't done this in a while. Let me see if I'm still good at it. All right. AtlantaSeaColony.com. Obviously, if you're watching through Patreon, you already know the deal with everything. But for those that are catching on the social media, AtlantaSeaColony.com. That's where you can find all the. We got some like good graphics up there. We have like resource page for even if you're not interested in like what we're doing. We have like a resource page that has like a bunch of book recommendation, podcast recommendation, YouTube channel recommendations, just great stuff out there. So go over there and check that out. There's a couple good looking pictures of us on there too. So if you went to the like about us page, some great headshots over there. Aside from that, also we have a merch store. So another way of supporting us is through the merch store. We have a bunch of cool items over there, whether it's shirts and hoodies. Now it's almost coat time, depending on where you live. But if you live where Brendan lives, maybe a hoodie's all you really need during the wintertime. But so hoodies, we got t-shirts, we got baseball caps, we got the coffee mugs, water bottles, mouse pads, whatever it is. We got not just the basic ASC logo, what you're seeing up there in the top right of your screen right now. We got really cool designs of like the sharks and stingrays and octopus and a bunch of cool different designs there. Brendan designed some ones himself too. So those are over there. So check those out. Also, we have a Discord. We always have a lot of good conversations going on in there. So if you're on the Atlanta Sea Colony website, you can get the link to the Discord through that, which, Atlanta Sea Colony. So we have a lot of different channels in there, so we can talk about habitat designs, we can talk about location ideas, or we can just talk about like scuba technology. And we have like a little channel just to talk about if you want to talk about like good movies. Brendan, you gave me some big news when I was down there in Mississippi. You've been claiming this was never going to happen, but what's the big news about The Abyss?
Blu-ray coming next year, and next Wednesday in select theaters across the United States is a one-night showing of The Abyss in high def in Blu-ray quality. It's upscaled. So
anywhere near you?
I don't know yet, but I need to look. I'm hoping, if so, I will be there.
One thing that I've heard from Brendan for a few years now is about this, like, there was always this myth that they were going to re-release it in Blu-ray and 4K, and he's like, it's never going to happen. They keep teasing it. It's never going to happen. Sounds like it's about to happen. So
finally,
yeah. Well, hey, is it like on your birthday when it's going to happen?
No, I just said it's the 6th. It's the 6th, I think, next Wednesday.
Oh, well, we could ask them if they could push it out so it falls in.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
Well, we know what you're doing on the 6th then, I guess.
If it's around here, I am.
Anyways, Discord. We can talk about movies and stuff in there. Other than that,
yep, it's going to be here. I just checked.
Woo! In Jackson?
Yep.
Attaboy. All right. Patreon. So if you're watching this, you're on Patreon. If not, go to patreon.com/Atlanta Sea Colony. Different tiers that you can jump in with that. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Brendan, 5, 10, and 25, or is it 5, 15, 25? Or is it 10, 15, 25?
5, 15, 25.
5, 15, 25. Sorry about that. And our patrons so far, Brian Acosta, Matthew Cathy, Martin Reese, S. Babe Hyde, Adam Jewell, and Ron Traxler. Thanks, Dad.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, I saw him today. He's like, hey, don't you have something going on tonight? I'm like, yes, I do.
He's like, I got an email. Now I'm going to have to call up my dad and be like, hey, so Brendan's dad got involved, and I kind of think you guys need to step up your game supporting your sons. And so, yeah, thank you to the Patreon members. And you mentioned it in the last video, but, having the Patreon members helped with doing the DEMA thing. And,
absolutely.
Doing the underwater intervention, just stuff like that. Because even, every little small bit helps to where, Brendan's funding all this out of his own personal money for the most part, other than what we can get from Patreon and stuff. Yeah. So it takes the load off of him and all that. So it's appreciate that a bunch. So until then, if you, like I said, you're viewing this on the socials, consider it. Join the Patreon. Well, I don't know. We're gonna do some cool stuff coming up. We're gonna do a Christmas thing, I guess. Yeah. But until then, we will see you again, probably in a couple weeks. We'll give you guys the date. Which foot are we going with, Brendan? Take us out.
We're not. Thank you, guys.